All right, guys, we're here with another episode of Cerebral Palsy and Fitness. I'm here with a guest today, Alex Turpin, to talk about his definition in regards to disability,
Hi.
his experience meeting with somebody with a disability for the first time, and how it's progressed over the years, and what he plans on doing. Well, he just graduated. What he plans on doing after the post graduation. So, Alex, take it away.
Yeah, so I've known David for, oh Jesus, since I want to say we started high school in 2008. So I've known you since like 2006, 2007, right? So around there, right? It's been that long?
It's been about a long,
Yeah,
about
it's been years.
it's been about 12 years.
So I first met David. This was in middle school at Millennium Middle School. This was like, this was eighth grade, wasn't it?
I
Six, seven,
think
eight.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
six, seven, eight. So
about
yeah, I
so.
met you in eighth grade. When I first knew David, I think when I first met him, actually, we were going to lunch, and one of my friends, we went to go sit down at a specific table that David and one of our other friends sat in. When I first saw David, by physical appearance, because David's got like an eye that looks in one direction, I could see something was a little bit different with David. I didn't know exactly what it was. Then again, I was like, what? How old were we? Like freaking 14?
Well, I think you were.
We were like 14.
I was a little older than you at the time, so
So I'm like this
yeah,
14-year-old kid
yeah.
that doesn't know much about like disabilities or anything like that. So just by me being naive, I think, there's probably something a little off with him. Being honest, Dave, don't kill me, don't kick my ass. Um, so and then once David like actually like started talking, I'm like, oh, okay, he's fine. It's just something. It's just like a physical thing. Not like with kids nowadays, they can be rude, they can be mean, people get bullied all the time. But David was like quick to be like down to earth and friendly, and I'm like, oh my god, I can easily get along with this dude. Cool. So we hit it off instantly. We had like another one of our friends named Dustin, and it was kind of like a trio of us for a while.
For a while, and so kind of we got into high school, and then we kind of grew apart, and
A little bit,
so
but
you know.
But the funniest thing about David is I have to say this. We took advantage of you so much in
Yeah,
middle
I know.
school.
Hey man,
We
that's how
took
it
advantage
is.
of your ass, and we mean it in like the funniest way. We don't nobody like you don't want to take advantage of somebody. We
Yeah.
were kids. We would specifically leave class early with the excuse, "Hey, I need to escort David to his next class for lunch."
I mean,
Just to get out early.
I mean, if you think about it, man, you had so many advantages of hanging out with me. You had the advantage of being able to get ahead in line, or let's fast forward for instance, and think of our senior year in high school when we went to grad bash, and of course we cut in line, and I remember
Oh
the experience
no.
of riding Rip Ride Rocket. Because of course you encouraged me,
Yeah.
and I was like, let me go ahead and try and write it.
Yeah.
So I wrote it, and next thing you know, I was about to
You got to
pass out,
barf.
but it was worth it.
You go barf. Yeah, let me get to
You
that.
know,
Yeah, middle school. That was what middle school was like with David. It's just that's when our friendship really just started to bond. And the next thing you know, we're going to the same high school, Crooms Academy. And for those 4 years, those have got to be some of the prime moments of my relationship with David. That's got to be like some of our like most awesomest memories. Always getting into trouble, escorting each
we
other,
had a lot of fun.
talking about which girls we had the crush on, blah 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 blah.
And we've been through a lot of ups and downs together.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Especially with you, because you in high school, you went through a couple
oh,
rough
high
ones.
school, high school for all those maybe going into high school. High school is going to be an emotional wreck for you guys. That's because you're growing up. Me and David both have had our moments to where we've literally had to call each other like at night just to break down, just in tears because of like just hardships that we're going through. And we've always had each other's back. I don't think there was anybody in high school that I like trusted more with like anything than it was David. I don't know. There was nobody else. I've only like in my life now as an adult, I've only got maybe a handful of people I actually consider like close family to me outside of my blood family, like actual family, and David's like number one because David's been there since the beginning. To get to grad bash, what you were talking about, grad bash, in case y'all don't know, is when at the end of the year when you're seniors, they pay for you guys to all go to a theme park.
They have all the high schools in Seminole Orange and whichever counties they do that event, go to that event, and it was fun. We had a blast. I remember getting back on the bus and everybody was passed out after like 5 minutes because
Everybody was dead.
everybody was pretty much dead. And I remember the day after I had a ceremony to go to because I was getting ready to receive the Rising Achiever Scholarship. So that the next day I was exhausted, but I had to do that, and that was pretty awesome. The day after.
I don't even think I remember that.
Yeah, from what I remember, I remember. Well, of course, and what I remember from Grad Bash wasn't just the roller coaster itself, but I remember riding the Simpsons ride, and it stopped, and I was like, start the day right. Everybody is like, see, and I guess Sierra was with us at the time too. So, and I was like, oh, it's finally started, and I remember getting startled.
It was me, you, and Sierra. We practically like the line. Like to get into the park, they didn't take us to the main entrance, guys. They took us to the back entrance, to like like behind all of everything. It was the biggest line. Probably took you maybe an hour and a half to get in. Here I come with David in the wheelchair, going all the way around the entire just skip the entire line. And I was like, oof, David, I love you to death. I'm taking advantage of you. I don't give a shit.
Hey, it was one of those opportunities where you kind of had to because
Hey.
you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait three hours to
Nope.
get on a ride, right?
Hell no.
Nobody does. Nobody ever.
Well, we
does.
weren't getting on a ride. We were getting into the park.
Yeah,
but we did that
exactly.
with the rides too.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, hey, David, can you ride this roller coaster? He's like, sure. I tell you what, when David goes on a roller coaster, it's the funniest thing because he panics. He goes, ah, ah. I don't even think he opened his eyes.
Yeah,
it's so
was
funny. He got sick afterward.
For me, it was quite an experience. I didn't expect it to be that bad, but things happen for a reason, and I guess that was one of those moments.
Well, you just weren't used to roller coasters. I personally love
and I still, to this day, I still am not, used to them. So I try to kind of avoid them if I can.
Boo.
So.
Oh wow.
But,
you can ride like little motion rides.
Yeah,
right?
I can ride little motion rides and do my best with that. But I said I'm not afraid to try anything new. So if I tried it, at least that's a win.
Skydiving now.
That's a win. I could even try that one.
I ain't doing that. See, you can do it on your.
You're not.
I'm not.
Why aren't you doing it?
Why am I not? Because I do not want that parachute to not work, and then all of a sudden I die and go squish.
I mean, you don't know. Maybe we might have somebody experienced to.
I'm not getting squished. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I'm perfectly fine. I'm not missing out. Maybe if I'm older. I'm only in my 20s right now.
Yeah.
So maybe,
I mean, if you're older, it might get tougher. So you got to think of it that way.
Shoot, I'm fine. Are you kidding me? When I get older, I'm not gonna be like these people. When they get older, they freaking crumble up. No, I don't care.
Yeah, just don't. I mean, you could wait to do it when you have if you end up getting. I mean, a midlife crisis, but I doubt you'll have one. I doubt you'll have a midlife crisis.
What was next? Freaking. So yeah, that was the end of that. College, everything started slowing down tremendously. We went to the same community college for a while, Seminole State, and then.
But then my overachieving behind decided to go to UCF, and you're kind of in the dust for a little while until you.
Nothing changed between us.
Yeah.
We just didn't hang out as much. There would be really long gaps between us.
We just didn't have time because we had different schedules, and each of us was at school.
And I ended up moving so many damn times. We did go to the same. We went to the same community college and we went to the same university. I went just a little bit later. David ended up graduating, and I graduated maybe a year and a half later than I think, a year and a half later than you did. Except I went to the college that was up in Orlando, the Rosen College of Hospitality and Management. Now that it's connected to UCF, but it's located right next to Universal Studios. And what that college specifies with is the hospitality industry. They train you in basically in classes that will help you to know the range of all hospitality. And hospitality is very broad. So you've got, of course, restaurant industry, you've got theme parks, you've got entertainment, you've got hotels like timeshare, normal hotels, and the list goes on and on. And they teach you anything from like food prep to marketing to everything in between. And let me tell you, I've got a lot of respect for the food industry now and what chefs do, but I will never work in it. I swear to God.
Now, what's your what was your experience like being in the hospitality?
It really
being in hospitality and then
it changed.
Going through it.
Going through it was a pain in the rear because you take so many classes I don't think you need. I took like 3 different finance classes and I hated those. I passed that last one by just a little tiny bit.
Oh yeah, we've been through those classes where they're so tough, but as soon as you pass it by the skin of your teeth, there's a huge weight that's lifted off your shoulders.
It opened my eyes to a lot of things though. Like whenever I go to a restaurant or if I go to a theme park and I see a service, if it's not up to like a standard I think it should be, I get bothered by it a little bit. Like, and I feel like I need to give feedback here or I need to do this. I tell you what, it's messed with my attitude a little bit. Like when I go through like everyday life, like I'm not as judgmental, I'm not as temperamental with things. I'm actually a lot more polite and calm. I think because of just growing up a little bit and because of the hospitality industry, because hospitality, you have to be welcoming, you have to like treat people like they're guests and stuff. So that's the mindset I have nowadays, which is fine. Man, I like it. I'm going through it. I'm glad to be done though, because I've never been one to like school. I've never liked school. I don't like it. It irks me. I don't like somebody sitting me down here for several hours and expect me to learn something in a week.
I don't blame you. I mean, we've all been through that experience where we sit down and we're like, why am I sitting here when I could learn by experience rather than sitting here and reading a textbook, right? I mean, it depends on the individual. Some people learn by textbooks. Some people learn by going out there and by experience.
Yeah, I've always been one to do with experience. Textbooks, to be honest, most of my textbooks that I've always gotten, I've never read.
Did you ever end up doing like an internship maybe to kind of?
I had to have
build your skills up. 3 in the hospitality industry?
I was required to have 3 internships to graduate, and they're basically like jobs. So the first one I did, I worked at Nike for a little bit doing retail because it counted, which was fun. See, I have these internships. Here's the thing about the internships is what I've noticed a lot of the times is you have to know somebody to get something really, really good. And unfortunately, I think that's the way the freaking world works now is you have to know somebody to get somewhere. And I'm sorry, I'm going to curse, that's bullshit. Because I didn't know anybody, and the only internships I could get was Nike, which I enjoyed, but it's not for me. And then call center job, which I really hated. Ooh, that call center job, I managed to do it twice because I did 2 different things, but I cannot stand, don't you laugh at me, I don't like it. I hate a call center job unless it's with a company that's very reputable. Oh my God, I will never do it again.
Oh man, I mean we've all been there, done that. I remember. Well, when I started volunteering, I did a volunteer job at an office for the Central Florida Zoo. But for me, it wasn't. I didn't really enjoy it because you're sitting down. You're not social. You're not connecting with people.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting there in an office and kind of like a cubicle, and you're like, man, this isn't for me. I mean, I graduated with a sociology degree. I should be out there communicating with people, making a difference. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what am I doing?
That's exactly
at the same time, it was something you could do to get your foot in the door. And I'm kind of glad, looking back at it now, that I'm here, at a spot where I'm at now. Like I said, I'm an assistant teacher, and I'm also doing a management, kind of like sort of a management position with the city and the AmeriCorps program.
Okay.
So it's awesome. It's an awesome gig. I enjoy it, being around middle school kids, even though sometimes they give you a hard time. But it's that they're in that pivotal moment of life where they're deciding, who am I and what's my purpose in life when I get older.
Yeah.
You know.
We think we're very similar when it comes to wanting to be social, because I had to do customer service over the phone.
And that's probably your worst nightmare, because you have to deal with people probably yelling at you constantly and
God.
treating you.
And it got to the point to where I literally was getting up and going to work, but I was not enjoying it. And it's not healthy either. Like, I gained weight. Like in like the beginning of like 2018, I was still like in like the high 130s, which is kind of underweight, but I've always had a fast metabolism. I've always been skinny. I went to like 150 something. I'm like 156 now because I'm sitting down in a chair.
Could also be stress, from the job itself. But
it was probably stress from my relationship ending. I'm like, do I look like I've gained weight?
No, you looked at.
I don't look like I've gained weight.
Why?
You were the first person to say I don't look like I've gained weight.
I mean,
my grandmother knows.
Tell me, you've always kind of looked the same. You've always been tall and lanky, but I haven't seen any differences really.
Maybe I should take my clothes off. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, where was I? I totally just lost my train of thought. Yeah, I won't ever do a job like that again. But no, I'm glad that I went through that degree, because we're living in Florida. Florida, when it comes to tourism and hospitality, it is huge, and it's never going away, and it's only going to get bigger.
So do you enjoy it currently? What, like, as far as hospitality, is that one of the things you really want to do when you?
It's not something I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I've never had that mindset. Oh, what do I want to do? Because not a lot of stuff interests me. And when we were I was going through degrees with my mom. She's like, hospitality management. I'm like, well, that is something. Maybe let me do that, because nothing else. I wanted, like, I got a little interested in cars for a little bit, but then I thought of it. I'm like, nah.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Nah. There's just nothing else.
So I'm kind of glad you kind of found something that you enjoy, and it's so far it's been pretty good listening to what you had to say about it, and
pretty straightforward.
Just to kind of clarify, you kind of spoke about your experience with meeting somebody with disability, our our relationship, as far as like
your brother,
being
family.
Being family practically, which we have been the last 12 years.
I love you.
This guy, you gotta love him. You gotta love him. He's always been there. He's always been there for everybody, which is great.
Try.
Right. So can you tell the listeners what your ideal definition of a disability would be?
I don't want to go off anything that's going to sound like definition. Like a disability.
I mean, it's just your own words. Like, what do you think it means?
When I think of a disability, I think of something that it's something that somebody will have, but it's not something that's going to. I'm very bad with words. Something that's going to prevent them from being somebody or someone they want to be. It's not a hindrance.
It's going to kind of limit them in a way.
It's something that's going to be challenging for some to try to push past, but it is not something that is going to prevent you from being who you want to be. There is a way for you to overcome hardships and stuff, because it's been done. It's history. People have pushed past disabilities, all kinds Look at you. You're more ripped than me, and you have cerebral palsy. Like, look at you. You're prime living definition of it right there.
I mean,
You're a beast. You're the Hulk.
yeah. And also not it's not only physically, but you got to think that um, my drive and my motivation has been the reason I'm here
Mm-hmm.
today, and people and my support system.
Yeah,
Having good people like you and a few other friends that I know and my family. You know,
exactly.
I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah, like, you've gone really, really far. Like
I'm a
it's
farther than most people with my disability have.
Yeah, and when people, I mean, a lot of people will think of disability and say, oh, well then what are they not going to be able to do? Well, no, just think of the opposite. What are they going to be able to do? Just it's not something that everybody should think, oh, it's going to be a hindrance because people with disabilities go real far. Where was that guy in the? I saw it on Facebook. He has Down syndrome, and he spoke to Congress. He sat there, like at the podium, he spoke to Congress about people with autism or not autism, Down syndrome, and what they can and cannot do. He sat there in front of Congress and he did it really nicely. He was all organized and everything. He was better motivational, not motivational. I can't talk. He was able to speak to the audience better than most people. He did it better than I would have been able to. That there's living proof that you can, do things. Even if you have a disability, just you can go above and beyond.
That is true, and we just as a society, uh, people like myself and others around us, our responsibility is to continue educating those around us and teaching them, hey, we're not just people, to be pitted on. We're not people that just sit around all day and
Mm-hmm.
play video games. We're people that are focused on getting careers. We're focused on getting ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just normal everyday people.
And it does depend on the mind, like you were saying.
That also too, it depends on your mindset.
Depends on your mind because because you can have a
You
disability.
you can
You can
easily
be
you can easily give up,
Yeah.
but do you? I believe not. I believe everybody, regardless of disability, has potential.
Exactly, 100%. Nothing else to say.
So Alex, I appreciate you being on my show.
Yeah, man. I actually wanted to.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Guys, remember I'm on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and Twitter
Listen to
at
it.
David CP Fitness. Um, I appreciate your time, and if I can do it, so can you. All right, guys.